In this tutorial I'll be teaching how to draw a stapler with the pastel pencils. As usual, I want to anchor those deep darks. I will also be working shape by shape. I want to get each shape completed before I move on, or at least close to completion before I move on to the next shape. It's just a touch. Even sometimes you just let the pencil rest on the paper, and just the weight of the pencil will be enough to glaze over the color like this. It's also a good opportunity to teach how I mix colors, how I layer colors, and show my glazing technique. The white will lift the value a little bit, and also it will help to take out some saturation out. And right there I'm picking the pencil up almost in the tip, because I want to go and put a lot more pressure in that area. So you can also control the pressure by the way you hold the pencil. Actually, try to hold it on the back when you want more subtle control, and more like this on the tip when you want sharp tip, and also put a little bit more pressure on the pencil. With this, it's a flashy tone, flashy color, very light color. It will give me a little bit of red. Take your time in the first shapes you're drawing, because this shape will dictate how you treat the rest of the drawing. If you rush on this shape and try to get to the next one, or to the next area, you can you're skipping details, you're skipping the resolution. You may have you may skip. You keep doing this to the next shape, trying to rush it, and you may end up with a half acid drawing. So I set up the tone with the first shape, and I say to myself, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to keep the same intensity until the end of the drawing. When you're learning, start to draw with small drawings like this one. These are perfect to improve your skills very fast. Instead of trying to go big and spend 4 months in one drawing, you're probably not going to learn a lot, and you get demotivated, you throw the drawing away, and in the end you're not having fun, you're not getting a result, and then you quit. Now I have these shapes locked in. I can start adding more pressure, more opacity to the shapes. If you like to draw, it's not just about the result, it's about the experience, the sound of the pencil on the paper, the touch, all about the smell of the materials. So I always try to take in the experience. So most of the time I'm not thinking about how I do it. only when I'm teaching or recording these tutorials. So after a while you figure out the techniques and you're not thinking about how to do it, you just do it. That's also what I want for my students. I don't want them to keep struggling. I want them to get as fast as they can to a point where they can just enjoy. Now this little circle that I'm avoiding here, it could be a better idea to just skip it and add the circle in the end. Small features like this one, you can just add them in the end. That way you don't have to work around it, especially in shapes that have a very particular color that you have to keep glazing to achieve the similar color. I have to keep avoiding that circle now with every single layer that I'm adding. For this drawing I keep sharpening my Pitt pastel pencils with a Stabilo sharpener, and this sharpener and these pencils are not a good combination at all. The wood of this pencil is so hard that destroys completely this kind of sharpener. I just destroyed one sharpener very fast. I think I'm on my second one now. A common mistake of beginners is to leave a gap between shapes, and then they will see an halo around the shape because they were too afraid to go to the edge. They were afraid to destroy the edge, and you shouldn't be afraid to go over it, push the boundaries of the edges. You can always push back from the other side to the background or to the other shape. You can always push back, and that's what you should do actually to get a really fine edge. So I encourage you to look at the edges. Don't stop before the edge, just go over it, push it a little bit, like 1 millimeter in, and then push it back. I keep playing with the edge there. Now my best mixing tool is the pencil itself. There are some tools that are useful for large areas. So if you're doing a very large background with very soft gradients, I sometimes use the Pastel or a pastel stick with a makeup sponge, those big round sponges. But whenever I can, I prefer to blend with pencils. I find out that I have a lot more control. Actually, even larger areas, I can achieve more interesting textures. Unless you're trying to make it really smooth, then just use the sponge. It all depends what you're trying to achieve, and actually what you have the most fun with. And for me, it's the pencil. I have a lot of fun with the pencils. It can be difficult, especially for beginners, trying to mix everything with the pencils and to blend. But don't try to avoid it, because you'll develop the skills very fast if you're not relying on the blending tools. It's the time to hold the pencil on the tip and get that angle very vertical. And with pastel pencils, there's a limitation on how small you can make details and how small you can work with. And this will depend on the pencil itself, if it's hard or soft. Now the Faber Castell pencils, the Pitt Pastel, they are easier to make details with. They are very hard, but also depends on the paper. In this case I'm using Pastelmat, as I always use. But the darker you go with Pastelmat paper, the color of the paper itself will make a difference in the resolution you can achieve. The more dark it is, the grainier the paper is. So the lighter the paper is, the more detail you can achieve. That's why I like to use the lighter colors for the Pastelmat, or either the white or the light gray. And the light colors of the paper also help bring the colors of the pastels a bit more to the light, so the colors get more vibrant. Now I'm just trying to do some details of the aluminium texture, and this is really so subtle. It's just a few lines will make the effect. This kind of drawing takes time, takes patience, and it's not for everyone. If you feel like you're getting impatient, or if you so it may be maybe you're not compatible with this kind of technique. Many students are very patient, and some even tell me that they want to go straight to details. They love detailing. They are so patient. But we found out that they are not so patient in the early stages, when you have to fill in the shapes, adjust the colors, adjust the values, temperature and saturation. They want to go straight to detailing, and actually that's a trap. You should avoid detailing. Just leave it to the very end. That's not the most important thing in a realistic drawing. If you're doing everything right, in the end, detailing is just little marks, little dots, little lines. This reminds me of my school days, when our art teacher used to bring matchboxes, lighters, cigarettes. So he was a heavy smoker. He loved to smoke, and that's the kind of subject we used to draw in our art classes with colored pencils. And I learned how to draw in perspective, geometry, and these are great subjects to practice. Just pick up anything you have at home and just practice. And if you frame your pastel artwork, remember to use UV protective glass. This will protect the drawing from UV rays. It's a bit more expensive than normal glasses, but it's worth. I always keep my larger drawings with very good framing and very good glass. I use museum glass. And the small drawings, I just keep them in the folder in the Pastelmat pad with the glassine paper over them, and just keep it in a drawer. This is a very, very fun exercise. You can improve very, very fast. You only have to draw half the subject, and also it's very, very small. It's hard to do details so small, but you can work faster. In half the time you get this done, you can go to the next one. Another subject, different kind of texture. You're going to practice. Now these are the details, little dots of white just going to the gray, and now with the light gray going to the dark gray, just filling in little dots so I can get some texture on the surface. I hope you enjoyed watching this tutorial and learned with my techniques, and keep drawing. I'll see you in the next tutorial.